Okay, can everybody still hear me okay?
Yes.
Good deal. All right, just a couple more minutes and we'll go ahead and get started. Well, I see we're almost straight up on 10 o'clock, so I guess we can go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone and happy Wednesday. As usual, we will have everybody muted except the speaker, which is Emily Bestard, and she will be speaking with us in just a few moments. I will go ahead and monitor the chat box and make sure that I answer or have Emily answer all of your questions when we get to that point. So feel free to think of questions and go ahead and type them in for us. Again, welcome everyone. I see some familiar names and some kind of names that I don't see very often, so very good. I'm glad you all showed up today. I'm sure you'll find this very interesting, and also just remember that all of the webinars that we do are posted up on the forums. Just to give you a little background, Emily is the owner of Transcription in Canada. She started out in rural Ontario, and her early education was actually in a different field altogether. It was in the travel industry. So that kind of shows us how we all come from different backgrounds and we somehow all gravitate if we're of the like mind to this profession. She sees the opportunity to use the internet to her advantage. I think that's a wonderful statement right there, because there are so many possibilities today that weren't available way back when. She actually graduated from CanScribe in 2005, so she knows exactly what you folks are going through. She did begin transcribing after her graduation, and she was able to start her own business in 2011, which is a phenomenal accomplishment in and of itself. She started out with one doctor and now transcribes for clinics across Canada. I know some of the people that work for her and they rave about her, so that's awesome. But I will let Emily tell you more about her journey and turn the floor over to Emily. Good morning, Emily, and thank you again for coming.
Oh, thank you very much. Good afternoon here where I am in Ontario. Isn't this exciting that, this is kind of ties everything together, is that we can all be in different places in different times, and this is kind of the magic and the foundation of my business. I have clients at West as well, so it's kind of nice being a little bit ahead of them when I'm trying to get and keep up with my deadlines. So welcome to everyone to my CanScribe family. I would like to call you all. I feel a real connection because I was where many of you are now just a few short years ago. Well, short years ago. I guess it's kind of creeping up on me here, but I'm so pleased to be able to share my experience with you. I've jotted down some notes here. People, in person and getting. So this is kind of a new adventure for me today, doing a webinar. This is my first one, so it's kind of a neat experience for me. So kind of the first thing I wanted to really touch upon is the idea that to a new venture in life, our very foundation is confidence in our skill set. And as a former graduate and as an employer, I just want to instill in all of you the exciting fact that you have chosen correctly. I have many sort of people cross my desk, and I'm to the point now, just from trial and error, that I really exclusively hire CanScribe graduates simply because they're ready to go. I don't have to redo work, or basically it's kind of hire them and they're off and running once they're given a task or a clinic or a physician. So I was at one point, and am to a certain extent, open to everyone, but really I prefer CanScribe graduates, and definitely so many times I'll have someone who is a great employee of mine or a great contractor, and they'll recommend someone to me, and I've had great success as well. So that was kind of my first thing, is that I just wanted to encourage you all that you had all a wonderful decision to be part of CanScribe. And I really have to say that CanScribe was the catalyst to change my life, in honesty. Kind of sounds like quite a grand statement, but it really not only gave me those skills that I needed to venture forth into this field, but the very act of graduating and completing sort of started something new within myself, and elevated me to that next level of believing in what I could achieve, and set a work ethic, because really all life is, and anyone in this CanScribe program knows that it's definitely not a sprint. It's a marathon, absolutely. I don't know if any of you have had this before, but I remember very clearly when I was just thinking of what to say here today, I recalled very clearly a couple days where I found myself in tears. I had a 3-year-old, and I was on a mat leave, so I had an infant when I was doing my course, and I got into some of those dictations, and I remember crying. I remember having to walk away and go for a walk. I remember having some days of absolute frustration, but you know what? They were such a key element of me learning how to handle those exact situations in the workforce. I have encountered, just through years of transcribing, even before I started my own business, just as a quick side note, you will just encounter the most interesting arenas that doctors will feel, or physicians dictating. I've had physicians obviously eating. I've had physicians on the phone when they were driving dictating. I had one physician who liked to dictate from home when his son was practicing piano, and then another child come in and say, I remember I was laughing out loud because the son, or the dog, I can't remember which, but they came in and they said, "Dad, Mom says you have to stop and it's time for dinner." And so you're going to have some times of real frustration with that. So just please remember, when you're sort of, those serve a real purpose, those ones where there's garbled dictation and you're working away at them and you're thinking, what is this all about? You will encounter that in the workforce, and sometimes you do have to take a breather. Some physicians are better than others, and there's a real number of physicians who are English second language. But the nice thing is once you get on to any one person, with time they definitely become easier. So I did want to talk about 2 aspects sort of delving into the business. I'll quickly kind of talk about the practical side of things, and Audrey, please, if I'm rambling or whatever, I'm a talker, so if you need to interrupt me, to delve into the practical side of things and how I kind of ventured off after graduation. And then I want to talk about the opposite side of journey, since we're kind of specifically talking about me as a business owner and how I sort of went to that next level of achieving my own business, apart from some of the other MTSOs. Really, so much of that focus is on our mindset. So my discussion wouldn't be complete with me discussing that active things. So when I first graduated, I absolutely had no problem finding work. I did apply to a few places and did have some opportunities presented to me quite quickly, actually. Initially, I did choose to go into an in-house situation within a hospital. That was just an opportunity at the time. That was back in 2005. It just happened to present itself, and I opted to go that direction, and that really exposed me to a real variety of different specialties. Now, certainly, some hospitals I know in Canada do still have the very odd in-house for speech recognition. However, a lot of these, as we know, have been taken over by Nuance, and some of those other companies have these hospital accounts. So you will be have that exposure to the same situations and specialties, albeit just from more of a home-based environment, which fantastic. So that kind of was my initial foray into being into transcription, and that really boosted my confidence, because there again, all of that studies and notes that we had typed in the course, I had a sort of real-time exposure to all of that. So I was there for a number of years, but I guess I would say I worked part-time, and then I worked part-time as well. I did keep an at-home position for a Centis. At the time it was called, and so I kind of tried to have a little bit of balance as best I could. I kind of saw the dynamic of things changing, because you have to understand, I kind of started out when things were much more in-house before we really went to more of this virtual environment. I know a lot of people kind of have trepidation about that, but in all honesty, it's got such an advantage. It's quite exciting, and really, when you have the discipline to be at home, and you're diligent with your work ethic, and you sort of prove yourself to be a valuable team member, that is really when those opportunities open up for you, as far as freedom of schedule. Basically kind of all those things you were visualizing when you set off on the idea of wanting a transcription career. So many of you had thought of, you know, kind of setting your own hours, and I do promise you that that is a very realistic possibility. It's just a matter of you differentiating yourself within the field, and you will achieve what you put out is kind of what you put back, or get back, excuse me. So basically, what happened was I kind of noticed some of these changes, and initially in the hospital, they were thinking, okay, you know, we're going to be transitioning home. So I thought, okay, well, this is good, because I've already got my foot in the door of where some of these things are going to end up. So I didn't sort of have those fears that some of my other colleagues at the time, who didn't necessarily have the CanScribe background, were sensing. I kind of thought, okay, well, I know that this is going to be something that's going to be building, and I'm going to get my foot in there. So I always have stayed on top of, like, we have to always keep learning. So I am always like, this is what's exciting about this webinar for me. I haven't done this before. So you know, set a goal for yourself to always keep on top of, like, your computer modalities, see where can I contribute, try to stay ahead of that wave of how things are, you know, are happening. I myself, I'm a very social person, so I kind of thought, you know what, there may not be an in-house position here necessarily at in the transcription at the hospital, but I thought I have a really, really strong foundation in medical language, and I from having been in and around within the hospital, I was able to make some contacts. And so I thought, I'm going to see sort of where this type of background can take me. So at the time I'd been employed through Health Records and as a transcriptionist, and then I someone was on a mat leave and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to see if I can get some part-time work within the department in more of a sort of admin capacity. And so that's kind of what I pursued at the time. So that brought me more into a visible forefront. And from there, sometimes you just have to partake in some shameless self-promotion. So I didn't initially set off starting a business. I kind of came about that in a backwards way, but I kind of knew that I at some point wanted to have the flexibility, and I really started envisioning that for myself. So this is kind of where I'm going to deviate slightly into more of the mindset side of things, because so much of, obviously, like as I said, CanScribe is going to give you that foundation of confidence in not only your skill set, but the fact that you've graduated and you have stuck it out, and you're now in that position that, you know, you were at a point in your life, you made a decision to try something else, you stuck with it, you persevered, you graduated. I mean, that is a humongous accomplishment, and that really is such a confidence booster. So having that under my belt, I kind of thought, you know what, I achieved this. I was in the travel industry, which I saw undergoing all these crazy changes, and I knew the dynamic. Like when I don't want to age myself, but when I started out in the travel industry, it was when travel agents, I learned all of this booking flights, and it was vastly different now. You know, I saw the internet and I saw where it was going, and I knew that I needed a change. And I'm sure so many of you out there, wherever you're coming from, you felt intuitively that sense that you needed a change and you wanted to you know, have a lofty goal for yourself and see something through to fruition and try something new. And I hope today in my talk I can encourage you that you need to extend that vision beyond graduation and even before you graduate. So that is what is going to allow to carry you through those harder days when you're having to persevere through the course. It is so valuable to have, not just to get through that note that you can't hear. Not only are you learning the skills to get past that blank, but you are learning the invaluable life lesson of how to handle this frustration. Because you're going to encounter that whether you do work for someone else or you work for yourself. Sort of getting the sense of what can I control. I do not have control over this environment, but I can control how I react to it. So as far as the mindset goes, what I really want you to encourage you, and this does tie in with sort of your business or the idea of working for yourself as an independent contractor for someone else. I started a vision board. I started in my mind's eye seeing myself setting my own schedule, seeing my working life work around that of my children, seeing myself being known for my capabilities and my abilities, my work ethic, and having that positive attitude kind of radiate out from me towards other people. I started visioning that before I was even in the headspace or had sort of the full confidence to go out and put myself out there. And I held on to that vision. So I hope some of you out there today will start to realize and know in your inner being that, you know, actually I can be, do, and have whatever I want in life, and I create my own life. I think so many of us forget that we're creators, but you are actually real trailblazers, because to be honest, I'm sure so many of you, when you first started discussing the idea of CanScribe or starting out on this new venture, you might have had the odd naysayer, and you know, you bypassed that, and all of you went and eventually made that decision to do this for yourselves. So that shows to me right there that you know, you do have that get up and go initiative, which is what it takes to sort of embark on something new. And I imagine so many of you do have that dream of working, you know, for yourselves, or having some more freedom in your schedules, and that's where you are headed. So I want you to start to think big and maybe stretch your mind muscles as to what possibilities there are for you. So, excuse me, now going a bit more back to the practical side. So I had planted myself in some in the health records, and then I realized that so many, like the hospital was contracting out to these larger companies, and I did start to plant that seed of wanting my own business. So I realized that so many of the specialists working within the hospital do in some capacity have a private practice. Some of them, so these are specialists I'm talking about, so like my particular ones are cardiology and neurology, which are my main focus, but like orthopedics, a lot of these physicians, even radiologists and diagnostic imaging as well in my experience, some of them, at least in my community, have outside clinics. In which case they don't necessarily have resources to be or needing to tap into the resources that some of the larger MTSOs have, and some of them don't necessarily want to be draining their in-house staff with transcription, nor do they wish to employ a transcription department in-house. So I did see an opportunity there. And so I actually, at that time, had thought, okay, well, I'm going to take my admin experience at the hospital and I am going to apply to a position, admin. I want to get my foot in the door and kind of see the inner workings of some of these clinics and put myself out there as a possibility for you know, kind of providing transcription remotely, but yet at the time it's someone they know. So that's how I kind of initially started out with my first physician, and it kind of quickly branched from there. So I had this one physician, and I was kind of typing directly into their EMR for them, and I would get the notes and kind of put stuff into the EMR. I was doing stuff from home. So how I was able to do that is there is companies, there's quite a few of them, there is companies that do provide, like I have a toll-free dictation line, and I have a web platform that is actually, I just branded it, and I use they're fantastic. I've used them since I started. So I was able to right off the bat provide my physicians with a dictation line, and I was able to have a secure place for note retrieval, etc., where they can upload and download like it's compliant with privacy law. So that was kind of thought, oh wow, this is fantastic. And obviously I did a cost comparison, and I'm quite happy with the company that I've been working with. We have a great relationship. And so I was able to kind of, even though I was still, you know, just this independent transcriptionist, I was able to sort of broadcast myself right off the bat. I was able to say, you know, I have this transcription business. So please remember that if you are able, really your only work is to put yourself out there and find the work, and there is these fantastic companies that you're able to tap into them, and it's a cost-effective solution, so I'm not having to worry about those logistics of you know, okay, well, how do I get this and how do I get that? It's all set up, and that's kind of what's allowed me to attract clients from different places. So having that one physician, now this is where the beauty of it comes in, is that most hospitals, most private clinics as well are teaching facilities. So how I expanded across the distance that I have is that obviously residents, fellows come from all over. And so they are in a portion of their residency, or they are in the middle of their fellowship. And they are, there for that short period of time. And so many of the physicians, some of them that I've never, believe it or not, have met face to face. I have done some of their transcription, or they've had their transcription done by some of my contractors. And based on the quality of work that we provided them in the office where they were completing their residency or their fellowship, they were so pleased with how things went that when they finish their residency, finish their fellowship, they start, a lot of them will go back to different parts of Canada where they came from, and they'll set up practice. So that's kind of actually how I branched into the East Coast, was one of the fellows who I had her boss, or excuse me, her, I guess, attending physician, I should say, was a client of mine. And so when she set up, she didn't even hesitate. She thought, okay, well, this is the company that they use, and so right off the bat she hired me. And then this is where everything expands so beautifully, is that of course she also had another schoolmate who again was done their fellowship and looking to open practice, and they kind of went into a partnership, so it grows from there. So I can honestly tell you that once I did that initial legwork, and of course with the understanding that having these keeping and upholding your TATs, having the quality of work, asking questions. My contractors from Transcribe are absolutely phenomenal at double checking facts. This is why I love you all so much, because sometimes they'll flag something to me, and they'll say this dosage seems off, because physicians don't always catch themselves when they're dictating or they've made a mistake. And so I often find it's my Transcribe graduates, contractors, who will say, this seems off to me, and so I'll catch those, I shouldn't say but I will bring to the attention of the physician what the fantastic typist or contractor or transcriptionist, however you want to, whatever wording you're comfortable with, that they pointed out, and I brought it to their attention. So that really, to be honest, is what has contributed to my amazing success, and what has expanded my business, is the fact that we keep to our turnaround time, and the fact that little idiosyncrasies like that, where physicians don't even realize that they've maybe have done something. A lot of times I do have access into, I'm granted access by the offices into the EMR, and so sometimes I don't even need to disturb the physician. I'm able to go fact check myself, and as long as I have confirmation, I can say, wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for pointing that out to me. Absolutely. And that is absolutely a hallmark of a Transcribe graduate, that there is such a basis of knowledge that you all have, because you have done all of those notes. So the purpose of that, the program of all those dictations and the practicum is really going to drive your success. And really, as I said, I love the word foundation, because foundation is where we start to build something. So you are so far ahead of the rest of the industry or people in your places as far as other schools. And I'm sure you guys already all know that, because you did your research before you started out. But so basically, really, all I had to do, I kind of feel silly talking about it when people kind of come to me and say, oh, well, how did you do this? Or, how did things start? I really just kind of put myself out there initially, and then I followed up with what I committed to. So that's such a key in life, whether it's continuing on and persevering through your commitment to finish the course, or me going out there and feeling it was nerve-wracking at first, kind of, I would go to the office manager of who I was working for, and I just said, who do you have, do you need some extra help with dictations? And initially they didn't, because they did have someone that was doing some of it, just a little bit here and there, and they kind of had a few people on her own, and she was kind of just trying to manage and feeling quite overwhelmed. So I just made that offer. I wasn't pushy. I just kind of said, I have this already, I have this set up, and to be honest, I didn't even have, I had the research done, and I had my provider all ready to go, and I had this one sort of physician that I worked for, that I was doing this little, these odds and ends, but it was the confidence. It was me going up to him saying, I have this set up. This is my background in transcription. I have, and I kind of explained to her a little bit, just how to really, more of a dialogue, to be honest, about, the book of style, things that she didn't know about. I actually asked more questions. So bear in mind, when you go up to someone and you ask questions, you're not going to come across, and you're not going to put them in a role of defense, and you're not going to put them in a position where they're feeling they're having a sales pitch. So I just asked questions. I said things like, do the physicians prefer things to be done strictly as per the book of style, or do they have a certain format or template they use? So I really kind of started her on thinking, okay, instead of having all these kind of random people that I'm having to juggle, we need to unify and make our dictations in this office more uniform. And so I kind of just opened, and once I started asking questions, she started seeking my advice. So so not only, and I hope I don't, I hope my confidence doesn't come up as being full of myself, but that's kind of the tightrope we have to, part of our healthy ego. I'm enthused, and I'm excited about things. So, but it's not from a place of conceit at all. And that's the difference in making a sales pitch to someone, is it's exuding and radiating that confidence versus feeling, what, you need to have me, I'm the best, I'm better than who you have. It's not about that at all. Sort of asking these questions and gently opening that gate, and having her, like I said, it was more of a dialogue that really set the tone, because then what happened is, not only were the physicians so pleased that everything was becoming uniform, but at the same time, managers network as well. So she had other clinics and other areas within our community that she recommended. So at one point, I was running myself ragged, not only physically, I was keeping my foot in the door, physically going into other places, typing and transcribing, but I was also slowly, like, moonlighting, as I guess the term is, building my own business in the background. And I very quickly kind of got ahead of myself, and I had to use I thought, oh my goodness, I've got more work than I can type. Who do I turn to? And I immediately thought of the CanScribe forum, and I kind of reached out to CanScribe and asked them to kind of post a position. And I've had someone who is invaluable to me working alongside me. She's a CanScribe graduate as well, and she's my right hand and sort of my account manager. And fantastic. So bear in mind too, no matter where you end up at any point in time, this is what's so fabulous about CanScribe, is that I sought advice from them, on a level of, needing graduates and needing assistance, and sort of just advice about how to grow my business. It was actually links through their website that led me to kind of finding the company as well for my business, my dictation line. So I'll just talk for a couple more minutes, and then I'll open the floor up. But so essentially, basically, that's what I want to parlay here today, is that it gains its own momentum. And I love the word momentum, because once you get onto sort of a train, that train of positivity and possibilities, it will just run away into this amazing experience. And every day I wake up and I have expectations of where my abilities and my skill and my businesses take me. I know that I am projecting positivity into our work. I am projecting positivity and affirmation and affirming, appreciation to all of my contractors. There is never a time, and that's one thing that, whether we're out in an office or even when you're for an MTSO, it is important that we don't always feel that we need that validation or that pat on the back, because we do need to be in, you know, we shouldn't feel we have to have that. But I know that I have, from experience, just expressing that appreciation to my people working for me. I would not be where I am. I would not have what I have if it was not for my people, and I treasure them. I absolutely treasure them so much, and I want them to know and to instinctually feel that I'm there for them and we are a team. I provide the work, and my job, my part of the job, is to go out and find those accounts and keep us all busy. But I wouldn't have the need or ability to do that if it wasn't for them. And so I encourage you as well, if you do find yourself in a position to either, you know, if you're working for an MTSO and you're a team lead, or you are blessed with an account of your own or a business of your own, the key to success as well is recognizing and appreciating who I bring on and who essentially joins me in the journey of, okay, well, let's go out there and let's expand and grow, and it's fantastic. So I haven't had to actually, probably in many years, look for work either outside the home or look for clients. So obviously, first of all, number one, as I said, is what you put out. So your work ethic, your work, your turnaround, all of that stuff. But so much more of this is our mindset. I can't even, I mean, look at the time. I could go, I could just go on and on about how it's changed my life. And I really, as I said, CanScribe was such a catalyst and giving me that confidence. Oh my goodness, like if I just turn around feeling this type of discouragement, the world is my oyster here. I have this skill, I have the ability. Healthcare is just growing like unbelievably. You know, the demographics of the population, you know, essentially setting this, coming up to double for baby boomers. The opportunities are out there, and it's the anticipation and the expectation of them, and not limiting yourself and thinking, oh, this isn't gonna, you know, is this stuff gonna be out there? Sort of letting go of those worries and fears that are ungrounded, and sort of embracing each day and thinking, okay, well, you know, where is this relationship with this clinic or this physician going to take me? Because if I'm upholding my end of the bargain and I'm staying in this positive place, this is going to lead to more and more business. And that's exactly what's happened. It's just like a blossoming flower, and I've just been so blessed that one great relationship with either this manager or this physician has allowed me to just allow things to grow and expand, and then it's all been sort of word of mouth. I've even been blessed just through networking again as well. I like to talk, as you can tell, so I was given an opportunity to go and sort of teach at transcription and some business courses at my local community college as part of their sort of medical office assistant program. And so I do teach a transcription course there, but I have actually referred, if they want to come sort of work for me or work for the MTSOs, I wouldn't, you know, they do need to go through CanScribe to get that real. I mean, this is just part of the greater whole of medical admin that I teach, but I just love still getting in the classroom and being in front of people and sharing my real passion for encouraging and sort of coaching people into the idea that if they stick with the course, they can just achieve so many fantastic possibilities. So one last thing, Audrey, before I sort of turn things over to you, is I want to encourage all of you to embrace the fantastic community you have at CanScribe. So when I was a graduate, or part of the course, I should say, so many years ago, there was a forum, but of course now, like Facebook and all this other stuff is really out there for all of you to be on and kind of reach each other on a whole different level than I had that ability to do. And why it served me now as a business owner, I wish I had that opportunity to encourage other students. Sort of, I kind of see on the Facebook thing there, you guys are all able to kind of reach out to each other. And so basically kind of what I wanted to say is I hope that my greatest hope for all of you is that when you're on there and you see someone discouraged is if you reach out to someone and you're commenting, comment to encourage, don't comment to commiserate. So, and I'm going to repeat that because I think that's so important. So comment to encourage, don't comment to commiserate. So we all need to vent, and by no means am I trying to, cast any judgment on people who go on there to vent, because, we need to release those emotions of feeling frustrated. But that's really your fellow students reaching out for, just lift me up. Just lift me up out of this funk that I'm in right now. And those of you that are in that feel good place in the course, because we're all on different waves, we're all in different levels of how we're feeling at different places in time in our course. And so if you just reach out to that person, it's almost like holding their hand and pulling them along or lifting them up. And I try to do this now in the business world. I can see people, where sometimes they just need that. It's like as if we're running this marathon all together, right? And they just need that little bit of nudge and some wind in their sails to keep going. So that was the first thing I wanted to do. And the second thing I wanted to say, that when you are that person in feeling that little bit of frustration or that little bit of negative feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I had that with 2 small kids when and now I have 3. I had many days where I felt discouraged and frustrated, and I certainly didn't always, it was hard to keep my vision of where I wanted to be. And I just want all of you to internalize the fact that when you have those negative days, they are such an invaluable, learning experience, because we grow through what we go through. So that is just literally taking that next, up the staircase of perseverance. And if you can just say, you know what, I'm learning something amazing about my abilities to get past this. And emotion is just energy in motion. So you need to remember that feeling is going to pass. Sometimes I just say to myself, you know what, I need a fiver. I need a fiver. So I'll go out for a walk, I'll listen to some music, I'll read a small chapter of a book, and then I will have, this renewal of attacking whatever I need to do. And it's not procrastination, it is allowing yourself to get back into a proper positive mindset. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that do not beat yourself up. As human beings, we have the tendency to feel negative about ourselves when we have a negative feeling. And what I want to encourage you is that negative feeling is sort of our internal GPS to remind us that we are straying and drifting away from our commitment. So as an exercise, I want every one of you to always remember that initial feeling and excitement of making the decision to embark on this journey. And when you first received your materials and you first got so excited, sometimes we just need to harness that, and that will carry us through, and everything will unfold exactly as it's meant to. So embrace that sort of negative feeling, recognizing it's going to pass, see it for what its value truly is, and then carry it through. And that is going to get you through the course. It's going to get you through your first few forays into the job. Get your feet wet, get into a great, there's so many great MTSOs out there, and establish yourself as a trailblazer. Go above and beyond, have a definite purpose. Establish yourself as someone who commits and achieves and wants to accomplish, and you're going somewhere. I can sense that from people that I have working for me. I get an absolute, not only intuitively do I sense that, but it is very evident from my interactions with people, and that's what I've tried to project out to others as well. So I don't want to, I could have you all here all day long. I'm so sorry. Audrey, if you want to jump in.
That was terrific, Emily. Oh my goodness. How could you not be positive after hearing all that? So I love your attitude. And I just will say, from being a business owner myself for many, many years, she nailed it. It's all exactly like she said. It's 99% attitude, and if you do walk with confidence, you do end up being successful. And that
Absolutely.
confidence is not cockiness. It's just knowing and caring. And Susan had written at the very beginning that she kind of was sympathizing with you and saying, you know, sometimes the dictations are so frustrating, but you're doing the right thing, Susan. Leave the desk and take a walk. And I think
Absolutely.
that's a good thing. And Bonita is asking, what company do you use for your secure line? And do you have the name of any others that you might want to share?
I personally, is a company based out of the States called Metroscript. They're fantastic. I have had, I've only ever in all the years only maybe had two issues with the dictation line, and they email me personally back if I've ever had a problem. Um, you know what? It's been a number of years since I've had to do the research into it. I do know, so I don't want to speak out of turn and either miss someone. But if you were to look up Metroscript and start looking up transcription application service providers, and you sort of Google that, I know there's a number of other companies, and I'm sure absolutely fantastic ones. There
Great.
is a fine line with having to sort of do your research, because obviously I charge per minute, and they charge me per minute as well. So it kind of works out, you know, because you have to obviously still make a profit and be competitive and everything. So, but even with them being based in the States, it doesn't hit me as a Canadian and charging in Canadian dollars too badly. So. So do your research. Definitely go onto Google. I know there is a number of them, and as I said, I mean, this was, I guess, 2010, oh geez, that I was starting to really delve into that in depth. So
Right.
they're out there though. If you Google, all that info will be
Okay.
there for you.
And if you do have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I can always ask Emily and get back to you as well.
Yeah.
Josie is asking, how many contractors do you have, and are you currently hiring?
How many do I have? Off the top of my head, I have some, like on staff, so to speak. I'd probably say I have about just over a dozen or more. What I like to do is I offer absolute full flexibility. So I have some that I've had for a number of years, and they do a few more accounts for me. But I will never, you know, if someone needs a day off, if they have holidays, if they have whatever, you know, whatever the case may be, I want to have sort of some of those people in place. So everyone front that, and as part of an IC, there's no sort of guarantee of work. I try to give people as much as possible, but I also kind of have to, it's a fine balance of as well. So I found that it's worked out quite well. People can kind of drift off when they don't need as much. And some of them, a lot of my ICs actually do still have maybe other part-time jobs. Some of them have a little business, not transcription, but some of them I know have other little side businesses as well, and they have this on the side. And so I am always taking resumes. I just don't have the time to go through resumes of non-graduates. So I'm more than happy to have resumes of people who are sort of done and ready to go, because usually when I'm turning and looking to resumes, because I need people, it's an immediate need. So I kind of have an ongoing hiring process, and so I am open to sort of receiving resumes. It's just a matter of waiting till people have kind of finished the program and they're ready.
Good idea. And I think that's really valid. And you do want to be ready to be hired when you apply. So
Yes,
yeah, do
yes.
make sure you finish everything up. And I do have some, I send it out to all my practicum students, and I believe everybody's going to start doing that. But through AHDI, there are some practice exams that you should go
Yeah.
online and just make sure that you're work ready. But I think Josie, let me see, was Josie asking? No, she asked that. Are all your, Victoria, she was asking if all your clients are Canadian.
Yes, actually, at the moment, I do have I do have a current physician who's finishing up a fellowship and already kind of wanted to contract me. He's heading down to the west coast of the upper states. So I do expect sort of growth into the states in future years. But at the moment, I am Canadian, and I have been hiring Canadians for mostly for practical purposes. Obviously, I bill in Canadian dollars, and there is a difference, quite a difference at times between the currencies of the two countries. But I'm sort of hoping that's kind of my next challenge for myself, is to sort of bridge that gap and kind of expand a bit.
Good deal. And I think, Bonita, you were asking the same thing, so that kind of answered that question. Lisa is saying that and I read many comments, everybody appreciates your encouragement, so awesome again. And Lisa is asking, though, she's a brand new student at 46, and she's scared out of her mind in making her brain work, and she panics at test time. Do you have any advice for her?
Yeah, so absolutely. No, okay, so it's the same, many things are doing, you are staying up with your work, you are studying the material. The best time to study anything where things are going to really sort of sink into your subconscious mind, to be honest, is in the evening before you go to bed. That's when, and you have to kind of have the quiet space. So being prepared, obviously, is number one. That whether I had to prepare for this discussion today. So really sort of, if you know that you've done the legwork, the rest of it is just mentally knowing, and you need to affirm that. My children think I'm crazy, but there isn't a day that I don't say affirmations. I am affirmations. So I am confident, I am prepared. I say them in the mirror. I actually write them on my bedroom mirror in dry erase marker, what I am and what I'm capable of. So deep breathing, and I'm not trying to go what my children call hippie. I'm very spiritual, so it is really a belief system. If you have to transmute those fears into confidence. It takes time and it's a journey. So what you need to do is just, as I said, deep breathing. If you have that preparedness and you have your work done and you have studied, it is just conquering that mind to know, I am ready to do this. I am excited to sort of regurgitate this knowledge. I have the foundation to put this into practice, and things are going to, like, I am able to allow my knowledge to flow out of me. It will be in my hands. It will be in my mind. Answers will come to me. It's really talking positive talk to yourself, and it felt kind of unfamiliar and strange to me at first, but now it is how I live my life every single day, and it's how I have achieved what I have achieved. Belief in yourself doesn't necessarily come naturally. It is something that really, to be honest, kind of started with my CanScribe. I know that I can achieve what I need to, and you can too. And the fact of the matter that you were able to get past, whether it was naysayers or your own inner doubts at 46 to start on this exciting new path, that's fantastic. That is half the battle right there. So it's conquering fear, but you conquered your fear to set out on this. You had to make a commitment. You had to commit financially, commit your time, and those are the two most important things that kind of people, when they're deciding what to do. So it is repetition of affirmations of your abilities, because you absolutely have the ability to achieve anything that you put your mind to.
And that is true. And, years and years ago when I was raising my children, I'm a dinosaur. I think I'm 63. I think, yes, I'm going to be 64 myself. But when I was young, my husband had a government job, and so he had to climb the ladder, so to speak, and every time he changed jobs or we moved, I had to change my job, and I groused about it the entire time. I'd be like, oh man, I just wish I could have one job and stay at that job, because I physically had to keep going there and typing. Well, the funny thing was, as the years went by, and like Emily, I decided you know, just from networking, all these places that I worked, people loved me. They loved my work ethic.
Yes. And it does truly unfold that way, doesn't it?
It does. And so I decided I'm stepping out. I'm just going to put my shingle out there and see what I get. I had so much work, like Emily, that I immediately had to start hiring people that I knew because
Yes,
it
yes.
was overwhelming. But the funny thing about all that grousing, it suddenly dawned on me, I could do any specialty that anyone threw at me, and I never knew
Yeah,
why I had to go through all that, and all of a
yeah,
sudden it became crystal clear to me the thing that I was griping about the most made me who I was. So
absolutely.
it's just
It's
phenomenal. Life will
it's
take you
that
on a
growth.
path.
Yes.
That's it. And I always tell my
Yeah.
kids, you have to have like a vision that these steps are not for naught. They're going to take you
Yes.
somewhere you're supposed to go. And
Yes.
if
And
you believe
they're
it,
gonna carry you through. Absolutely.
exactly.
You kind of have to sort of like, put yourself out there, put that sort of, that dream out ahead of you, and then think, okay, well, I'm a magnet, and I'm going to be drawn into that.
Hmm.
But the key really is maintaining that positivity. You've graduated the program, you know that you have those fundamentals there, which is going to give you the confidence to put yourself out there in more of a social capacity, because so much of it, I don't know if you felt this way, Audrey, but once you kind of got out there, it was more like, now I kind of feel like networking, which was a scary word to me at one point, it more seems like a socializing thing, because I have a lot of people come to me and I'm so
Exactly.
excited to share my knowledge, and I really wish that I could go to the top of a mountain and just extol the virtues of CanScribe, because it literally did give me so much of the confidence I needed to put myself out there to these businesses or these clinics and be able to provide a valuable service to them. Like, I'm absolutely, it's not comfortable for us to sometimes say I am valuable, but I know 100% I am valuable. I offer a fantastic service to people. I am so proud that I'm able to share the wealth with graduates. I have fabulous people working for me. I'm only 38 years old. I have full flexibility of my schedule. It totally works around my family. And I've got three sons. I'm busy, and like, life is just, it's fantastic, but it was hard. This is the thing, is that we need to recognize there was days where it was a hard go,
Sure.
and it is that perseverance that will allow you to, and eventually you put that work up initially, you finish the course and you put yourself out there, and maintaining, when you have the right mindset, things will naturally, you will attract them to yourself.
That's it. And in my experience, I have had so much work and so many opportunities that
Yes,
I
yes,
actually have to say no after a certain point, which I'm not very good at because I usually can't juggle them all, much
yes.
to my husband's dismay, like, what are you thinking? But
Yeah, I
it's
know. I've heard that
it's
as well.
it's so when I was asked to do a course at the college, I just was like, oh, of course, I can do that because I just love it. And I love spreading the word that this career is far from dead. And it's not going anywhere as far as I'm concerned because of the errors, because of the rising problems in healthcare. With all of these electronic records, it just doesn't make sense. They can't do it without us. And our job will change maybe. It might evolve. Some of us might go out on little side branches, but I just think that it's going to be incredible. And the pay is going to go up as well eventually because they're going to realize how valuable we are.
Yes, yeah. Well, they were saying when I took the course, I mean, I had people trying to instill self-doubt as well, and that was, back however many years ago. That's always kind of been, and I mean, I was in-house even when things were starting to shift, but we need to realize that, healthcare is a field that is never going to
No,
go out of business.
no.
As I said, that the demographics of the population shifts. We're coming up to an absolute explosion. clinics are filled to the brim. I have extra, this is part of my problem. One of the clinics I work for is now having weekend clinics.
Oh,
So absolutely there's going to be an evolution perhaps in the delivery of
exactly.
how things are done. But I mean, the human brain is very, very, very far from being replaced, and we really need that discernment to be able to decipher, you know, how things are done. And I mean, we may be more working directly in EMRs versus some other platforms, but we need to look at that not from fear, but from a place of excitement. There's opportunities in the future that we can't even comprehend.
Exactly. And the thing is, like you were saying earlier, the fact that we can figure out that that dosage is wrong, that medication's not being used for the right condition.
Yes.
And I had somebody say that when I had a study the other day. She said, we're doing away with our transcriptionist and I can't understand why. She caught all these things for us. And so I said, well, mark my words, you'll get her back. You'll have to go back to having one because it's impossible to have transcription or
Yes,
dictated
yes.
reports without that human involvement.
Yes, and actually I should inject, which I should have said earlier, as a small point of encouragement that a number of my clients actually had tried in their own offices and clinics speech recognition modalities, and some of them became so frustrated. No, honestly, they became so
Yes,
frustrated. One of them actually said, I will no longer babysit my dictation.
that's it.
Um, so they don't have the time to do that.
No,
So that's why, and I mean, you know, it is far worth the expense. So many of them tell me that it's literally
exactly.
like, it's, you know, so
And you become their
that's
right
where we are.
hand, you become their right hand because they don't have more time. I have a friend who is a physician and he said, I already do so much. Are you kidding me? I can't do this too. And
Yes.
so it becomes
Yes.
overwhelming.
Well, and one of them actually said to me in a candid conversation, they said, I would actually rather book one extra consult and tack on another, you know, 45 minutes in my day in what I specialize in to sort of quantify paying someone versus
Exactly.
having to spend all evening editing
Right.
dictation.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like all they needed
Exactly.
to do, their physicians, is sort of add another patient on, and that's what they're supposed to do. So um, because there is, you know, it costs them more than say having a software program, but it's done. It's set it and forget it type of thing where she
Exactly.
just says, I deal with an extra patient, and that pays me for however long to, you know, to have this service, and it's a full service, so they all appreciate it and would never go back.
Exactly. Well, it is almost time to go, so I have to thank you all again, but oh gosh, Emily, that was just inspiring. Wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. I do want to say as well that I am open for anyone needing an extra bit of encouragement. I think you have my my email address there, Audrey. You know, I can't always get back to people right away, but as I said, it's my real passion to try to encourage people to stay their course. I recognize that so many people are setting off on a new path in life, and sometimes we just need that extra, as I said, pat on the back to stick with it. And you've made the right choice with CanScribe. I absolutely love them. You know, I've had so many fantastic experiences with them all. So I'm more than happy to answer an email from someone who may have a question or, you know, just need a little bit of extra encouragement. I'm happy to do that.
That is just perfect. Thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you, Emily. That was just perfect. And
Oh,
I hope
thank
you
you.
all have a great day.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.